for
This
our town.
conference will
And
now
we'd like
be
to start the
recorded.
meeting off. Everyone, please stand, remain standing with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you would please remain standing, I'd like to ask Mr. Caldwell if you would please do an invocation for us, please, sir.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father God, we thank you as always, dear Lord, for the opportunity to be here and to get here safely this evening. We pray, Father, that everything done will be in your will. We pray, Father, that you will lift up those who are being sworn in tonight to serve this community. We pray, Father, that you will bless those who have served this community. We pray, Father, that you will watch over everyone, take care of us all, and let us all leave and get home safe and sound this evening. In Jesus' holy and precious name we pray.
Amen. If everyone please just remain standing just one moment longer to remembrance of a couple of our citizens who passed away, Miss Ann Lawrence and Colonel Rocco Francis Rocky Ventrella Jr. All right, thank you, everybody. Please have a seat. And if you would at this time, check your phones, cut them off, put them on vibrate. I'm sure you all have some awesome ringtones you'd like to share, but for tonight, please keep it to yourselves. And at this moment, I'd like to ask any member of the board to have a conflict of interest with anything on the schedule. Please speak up now. If not, we'll move right along. I see Deanna's in the house. Would you like to come up quick before we even start the meeting? I know you had something really nice to share.
I'd just like to publicly thank Commissioner Martin for spearheading the $500,000 grant from the state. I'd also like to thank State Representative Pat Carteret. What should I do?
Can I interrupt you, please? Sure. I have to. I did not do anything spearheading the $500,000 grant. That was Zach Steffi and Pat McElrath. I did, however, spearhead the $64,000 donation from the county.
Zach, here's a virtual.
I'm just glad we got it.
I'd love to take the credit for it, but
Zach has been working all along.
Yeah.
All along. But thank you, Zach. It's really moving forward. And Pat McElrath for getting it into the state budget. We had our turkey trot at over almost 450 people. They won this trail. Comments were very positive. And from the proceeds from that, we have a check for the town for $5,000. And we hope that we can continue to do that every year with proceeds that are coming from the turkey trot. And so next year, I'm challenging each one of you turkeys to come out and trot Thanksgiving Day on the new trail. Who gets this?
I'll do like I did this year. I'll show up in sachet just a little bit.
Yes, the mayor came out. But thank you so much. We enjoy doing it, and the members that are coming into the gym, the members that are coming through and on the trail, they say, what's happening? What's going to go on? And they're so excited about what's happening on 24. Thank you all for your hard work. It's going to be great.
And thank you. I can't say enough about your business. They did an awesome job. I had no idea that many people had that much energy that early in the morning on Thanksgiving. It was amazing. That was how the whole trail was adopted to begin with, was to be done with donations and grant money. And we're glad to see that we can see the end of the tunnel finally. So thank you so much. So I'm sorry for that brief interruption, but I did see her and I know she may have to leave, and I just wanted to do that. So we'll go back to our business. And we will talk about adopting the agenda as it stands. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. Next up is the approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to us?
Move to approve.
All right, second. All in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. Next up, we're going to have the recognition of our outgoing elected officials. I do want to acknowledge everybody out here. My God, we got some awesome elected officials here. I just want to acknowledge the ones on the front row here from Emerald Isle, and then our clerk of court as well, and then town of Pelletier also. So thank you all for coming here tonight. And this is part of what makes this country great and what it is, which is our elections and free elections. And so thank you for supporting that. And thank you guys for serving, especially Emerald Isle. Can't thank you guys enough. You have done so much for our town. Anything we can do for you, please do not hesitate to ask, because we really love you guys. Just a bridge separates us is all it is. And anything we can do to help, to cross that bridge, we're here to help. Yes, sir. And so first up, I would like to give man right to my right here, Mr. Naylor, an opportunity to say anything you would like to say, sir, before I kick you off.
I'm tempted to say no, nothing to report, but I would like to say that I've really enjoyed this past couple of years. I've had a good time. I may not have done much for the town, but I had a good time. So that's what's important. I'd like to congratulate all the new and returning commissioners. And I'd like to thank all of the candidates. We had 6 candidates for 3 positions this year. That's fantastic. I just hope we can continue to have multiple candidates apply for vacancies as they come available. I hate it when there's just, one vacancy and 1 candidate. In any event, the only regret I have actually is that I've got this carton of yard signs that I figured I can just use as targets. But then Steve reminded me, since it just says Jim Naylor's commissioner, that I could run for county commissioner.
I like that idea.
And since the filing dates have been pushed forward at some time in January, February, something to think about anyhow. Thank you.
There you go. Well, I would like to present you this from the town. It's a certificate of recognition for the work you've done here, sir. And
Excellent.
I don't know, can you read it?
No, but that's okay.
Okay. But it says, for your distinguished services, Town of Cape Carteret Commissioner from December 2019 to December 2021. Town thanks James S. Naylor for his honorable service and contributions to the town. And thank you. I sure do appreciate it. Next is outgoing Mr. King, Mike King.
I began my service at town in actually 1998 as a member of the planning board. Actually, my wife said, you came to this nice little town, maybe you ought to do something. So I got on the planning board, and 6 months after I was there, I was the chair, and I remained the chair for 6 years. And one of the things that early in 2000, 2001, if those of you remember, when they were widening Highway 24 from a 3-lane to a 5-lane, we had the opportunity at that time to put sidewalks from one end of the town to the other end of the town at a cost of about 20% of the cost. And the sitting board chose not to do it. I was very dismayed because I thought that would have been a great move at a very low cost. So I decided that I was going to run for commissioner. And I just want to mention a couple of things that I've been involved in over the years that I think helped this town be a nice place to live, so that when you got a nice place to live, people come here, property values go up, and it's like it raises every boat. And so a couple of those things, the very first one when I came here was a town with 190 homes on the waterfront and no place to launch a boat. So that was the first thing. And believe it or not, I tried to get 2. I wasn't successful on the one in Bayshore, but the people down there have got one for the town. I was successful on Manatee Street, and it's been a big boon to this town for many years, and probably the only revenue-making enterprise that this town has ever entered into. The second thing was we have a community with a lot of trees in it, especially Bayshore and Old Cape Carteret. And we had no way of picking up the leaves, and this place was just smoky all the time. We got this yard debris, and we started with a front end loader and a truck, And now we've got some nice equipment to do that, but that was something that has been wildly popular in the town. And these are the kinds of things that I would hope this board and the boards after it will try to find to make this town a better place to live. The third thing, and probably nobody in here knows anything about it, is the R135 zone. If you would remember, Cape Carteret was zoned for 20,000 square foot lots. And there was lots from Dolphin Street to Bonita Street. They're all platted at 13.5, and none of them were developed because people had to come in here and buy 2 lots to put 1 house up. And I worked on that, and we've got the 13.5 zone in here. And if you go between Dolphin and Bonita Street now, almost every one of those lots has a house on it that added great value, not only to the property owners, but to the town in terms of revenue. That was another thing that really lifted up the town. And the last thing that I worked on, and I was the chair of the board when we started, was the Cape Carteret Trail. And I am so grateful to Mr. Zach over there for getting the balance of that money to get this done. I never in my wildest dreams thought this would be this much of a struggle. I did the first section, which was from Lowe's down to the school, and I got 92% of the money in grants. And it was like I didn't even have to ask for it. I think this trail will greatly enhance our town and bring it together and make it a better place to live. So everybody comes here will have a nice place to live with increasing property values. Now, I don't know, this is one of the last towns from Florida to Nova Scotia that has a large majority of middle-class people living in it. And it's very rare to see this thing along the coast of the Atlantic coast. And I don't know how long it'll be that way, but it's been just a wonderful place for a lot of people with middle class incomes to come down here. And lastly, I would like to welcome the new commissioners, Cameron Watts and Charlie Morgan, who are sitting out there, and also congratulate Steve Martin, who's been elected to another term. And I want to thank all the board and the people out here for giving me this opportunity to serve for the past 20 years. Thank you very much.
Mike, I want to present you as well. Certificate of resignation. Right there, it says for his distinguished service as town Cape Carteret Commissioner from December 2017 to December 2021. The town thanks Michael L. King for his honorable service and contributions to the town. Thank you, Michael.
Well, can I do that to 17, put 1998 on it?
You can do what you want to. I got a crayon you can borrow.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you all. Somebody asked me once what it's like to be mayor. I said, get you a job at Walmart working the 3rd shift complaint department. That gives you a good start. So, you know, it's a lot of complaining you do, but it's a great job when you represent awesome people and you have great people like this. So one more last round of applause, please.
That way they can eat something.
All right, now, what most of you here have been waiting for, we're going to start swearing in some people. And we're going to start with the Sitting Commissioner Martin, who has a special guest, Mr. Ken Raper. Thank you, sir, for coming. He's the clerk of court for the county, in case y'all aren't aware.
And a modified one of that. You're welcome, sir. Pay me later.
Repeat after me. I, Steve Martin, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and obey the laws of the United States of America and the state of North Carolina, that I will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of Cape Carteret, That's a long one. Observe the provisions of the charter of the charter, the ordinances of the town of Cape Carteret. I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of commissioner. Congratulations. Yes, sir.
All right, next, if I could get Cameron Watson, please, come forward. Yeah, you can reach it a bit quicker than I can.
I, Cameron Watts,
I, Cameron Watts,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
of America
of America
and the state of North Carolina,
and the state of North Carolina,
that I will,
that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
observe the provisions of the
observe the provisions of the
charter and ordinances
charter and ordinances
of the town of Cape Carteret,
of the town of Cape Carteret,
and will faithfully
and will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of Commissioner.
of the office of Commissioner.
Where you going? All right. All right, once he has a seat, Charlie Morgan, if you would.
I, Charles Morgan,
solemnly
solemnly swear
swear
I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
and obey the laws
and obey the laws
of the United States of America
of the United States
and the state of North Carolina, and I will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the
and the provisions of the
charter and ordinances
charter and ordinances
of the town of Cape Carteret,
of Carteret,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Commissioner.
the duties of the office of commissioner.
Charlie, you can't leave either. You got to come sit down. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
I want to make it an easy vote for the board. Because we have a great crowd this evening, I'd like to move the item for the reception up to right now. And if y'all approve, let's have a little 20-minute recess. People, do I have a motion to?
I'll make a motion.
All right, second. All in favor? All right.
I don't get any of that.
Motion to recess.
Don, we already are. Go ahead.
You have a second.
2013, and I want to honor past board and the current board for following through on so many things that we started. And y'all done a great job, and Mayor Fowler and I, back in 2013, started many of these projects, the trail and time for the town of Cape Carteret. And thank you for following through and doing a great job for the town of Cape Carteret. And welcome aboard the new member. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take a brief recess.
authorities are just now assessing the damage.
to continue where we left off, which is our public comments. Let me look at my sheet here. So first up, we have Michael Setner. Michael Setner. Michael not here. Going once, going twice. Oh, okay. Well, next up is Dot.
Just have one name.
Dot Marsh, I'm sorry. I just assumed everybody knew you.
For the benefit of the incoming commissioners, I will again address the issue of the removal of speed bumps and initiating a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit in our small neighborhood in Carteret. This is by the former clubhouse, golf club entrance that is now barricaded closed. Clubhouse right now has 2 high speed bumps because a child was injured by a car a couple of years ago. The only such accident in Cape Carteret is very sad. I add, for those who do not know, the child was not seriously injured. The distance on Clubhouse Drive is only 2/10 of a mile. And Sutton Drive is 4 tenths. Sutton ends in the middle of Fairway Lane, and it is a short distance in each direction, both ending in a cul-de-sac with no outlet. Clubhouse Drive with speed bumps is the only way out for residents on these streets. For the distance of less than a mile, 15 miles an hour should not be a hardship, and it will bring peace of mind to parents and their children. Yes, everyone still has to be cautious. Speed bumps are a danger for emergency vehicles and a great inconvenience for the residents of Sutton Drive and Fairway Lane and the 2 cul-de-sacs of Sutton Circle and Quilty, as well as I imagine some of the homeowners on Clubhouse Drive. I welcome approval of the changes that have been suggested and discussed at the October meeting with the commissioners with several speakers, including our chief of police, who all spoke addressing the issue. Specifically desired by the majority of affected is a positive approval of the removal of speed bumps and approval of a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. Today I went and got my car serviced, and they did realignment of my wheels, and they were all out of line. Now, he still couldn't prove that it was the speed bumps, but he said they all were out of balance. So thank you for considering researching and hopefully approving this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. The only other person we had to speak was Minnie Truex, but she already spoke.
I didn't fill out one of those.
That's for the, you filled one out for the public comment on the,
No, just.
okay, well, if you'd like to, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I didn't know, I thought that agenda item for those storage buildings would be, and the latter would be in the first part of the agenda, so I was talking, so I just had a comment, I talked to Mr. Westview about that. The northwest corner of that facility, it looks to me like it's too tight for, at least a regular sized truck, even a short bed. And I've talked to him, and there's some options that could be considered to do this is by moving the gate down there. But if you go over and look at it, I have no concerns about the project itself. Just that turn on the northwest corner to go to the back side, which those storage units are double-sided, you know, access it from both sides. So just take that into consideration when you get that portion of the project. I think I brought to his attention, and I think he may want to comment on it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mike. All right, next up is staff updates.
All righty, so we got an image there from the turkey trot. So once again, I want to thank the Cape Carteret Gym for putting that on and for the $5,000 contribution to the Cape Carteret Trail. So that's exciting to see all that coming together. Want to recognize the Cape Carteret Garden Club for decorating Town Hall. So all the decorations on the front windows and throughout Town Hall are courtesy of the Garden Club. Also want to remind everybody that we're a collection spot for the Toys for Tots drive. We have that in the front lobby. So if you have any toys that you'd like to donate, we have the collection box right out there in the lobby. We had our December movie in the park event, which was Elf, and we had a really good turnout for that. I think everybody had a good time. We also did some snow right after the movie, which was a big hit. So I think everybody enjoyed that. We actually blew through a lot of snow, so we were a little bit worried for Christmas in the Cape that we were not going to have enough. But we were just able to get by on that. So just some more pictures from the Elf movie. So you can see Chief there rocking some stylish snowflake sunglasses. And then we had Christmas in the Cape. So there's Chief there again telling Santa about what he wanted for Christmas. So hopefully that all comes true. And then we had the Cape Carteret Baptist Church came by with a youth group. And I think we had a great time. We had a really great turnout. So this was just before we had those dance performances that took place on the stage. But really impressive event. And I want to thank the staff and all the hard work that went into making that event happen. We had the sleigh rides, and we were able to use that last bit of snow as a surprise when folks came around the side of Town Hall. So I think people enjoyed that. And moving on to the Cape Carteret house decorating contest. This was our group of judges that judged the contest. I want to thank them. That was the Cape Carteret Garden Club, as well as some other residents from here in Cape Carteret. And it went a little bit longer than we were anticipating. We were still broadcasting. It was right around 10 o'clock. So it was quite a marathon of a broadcast, maybe our longest one so far. But we had a really good time and saw some really great decorations. We're going to be announcing the winners of each of the categories tomorrow. So stay tuned. We might go live on Facebook and do that as well. But had a lot of really great prizes from the local business community. And I want to thank everybody who supported Christmas in the Cape. And just running through, so everybody, if you didn't get to watch the live broadcast or check out Facebook, got a number of great houses, so just wanted to showcase them there on the screen.
Some of the play-by-play commentary was hilarious.
And yeah, the commentary gets better and better each year, just like the decorations do. So, and we've got a couple of judges who have been doing it now for a couple of years, which has been really good. And Sergeant Eschbach as well has joined us for several of them. So we really get into it and enjoy it. And just wanted to show this update from the Cape Carteret Trail project. This is the walkway over Schoolhouse Creek, and that's coming along really well. And we're excited to move on to that next section from this point onto the Handy Mart, as well as that section that's in front of Starbucks. And then this past week, we also had the Christmas Caravan, and I want to thank the Cape Carteret Police Department, as well as Western Carteret Fire and EMS for safely escorting Santa Claus throughout all the neighborhoods in Cape Carteret. We had a really good turnout, and it was beautiful weather, and most of us were in shorts, so it's nice to be in shorts in December and be able to enjoy that. And then also want to recognize Ryerson Unlimited for getting the sleigh and the reindeer up there at the sign at 58 and 24. That's always a big hit each year. And then I'll hand it over to Chief, and I'll just take one more moment to also thank Representative McElrath for getting those funds in the state budget. I think that's going to get us very close to our goal of getting the rest of the trail done. If we get some bids and prices like we've seen lately, I think we stand a pretty good chance at getting the rest of it done, but we'll just see once we bid everything out. So, and check with John Freshwater today. He's got most of the survey data from John Odom. That's kind of what our holdup has been, is getting that survey data. So hopefully we get the rest of that and we can start the permitting process and break ground on the remainder of the trail in the near future. But want to also thank all the staff. I want to thank Heather. She worked the camera during the house decorating contest judging. Want to thank Sergeant Eschbach. Want to thank Officer Hayden. Want want to thank Barbara Owens, who organized Christmas in the Cape and all the events that we had out there. And any of our other staff, obviously our Public Works Department, for getting it all together and making everything look good for the holiday. So, and I'll hand it over to Chief McKinney to talk about what's going on in the police department.
Let's have up there. I'll talk about that first. So I'd like to thank Emerald Isle and Walkway for participating in our multi-jurisdiction saturation patrol on Friday. It was conducted from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and officers issued 11 citations and made 2 arrests. So we were thankful that we could do that, and we will be doing that in the future. Going back to the Are You OK program, I've waited many months for the equipment to be delivered, and apparently it's on a ship out in the Pacific somewhere. So what I've done is I've contacted Carteret County Communications Center, and they have agreed. They make morning phone calls to the elderly, to those that are disabled, live alone, and they've agreed to take us on. So I want to pass the word out to everyone so that if you know someone that is in need of a daily checkup, please get in touch with me or one of my officers so we can set that up. If no contact is made, they will contact myself or one of the officers, and we will go to that location to check on the welfare of that individual. Also, would like to thank those that donated to the No Shave November. We collected $1,097. This will be utilized for the new Neighborhood Watch program. And we hope to sign up on each street that is inbound from NC 24 and R58, Taylor Ocean, with our Neighborhood Watch sign in place. So we're also, hopefully, eventually, those that are members of the Neighborhood Watch program will be able to supply a small sign for mailbox that residents. And then lastly, the speed study's been completed with 568 kilometers made on 12 different streets. I won't elaborate beyond that, but Star Hill Drive, there was actually 3 segments that our officers did clock on. They will be presented for discussion in January, and I'm sure some will be surprised at the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I can't say enough about Public Works, our entire staff, office staff, but man, I've had so many compliments this past week about the events, the Christmas cake, the decorating contest, Santa Cruz, and then the brush pickup we just recently had. People really, really like it. They're complimenting on the great job you guys are doing every time they see you're working, other than small time drive on the beach with Santa Claus, but that's okay. But that's another thing I've also got a lot of great compliments on is our videos, and I can't here again stress enough how much I appreciate Zach. Towns our size to have the productions we have and the events we do and the videos we're producing is just unheard of. So the professionalism that we're getting out of our staff is just, I just can't say enough about it. How awesome are we to have that here working for us today? All right, that's it for.
I'll let Ryan.
Ryan, you got anything? Okay.
Yeah, we've been working steadily on just a minor road repairs and always working on ditch work in town. We removed all of our veteran banners in preparation for Christmas, hung all of our lights on 24 and Taylor Ocean Road. Obviously did the debris pickup as well. Just trying to get a little bit more better image throughout town. For example, if we did that cleanup there on that island on Highway 58, it was just terrible. And just get a better image when you're driving through town that we have a clean town. It's going to take a little while. We're going to just get that better image where you're just looking around and just good. There's examples there of road work we did over there in Bayshore. We look forward to what we can do with our staff in town moving forward here into this new year. And you guys remember Todd here. He's been with us since August. You've been doing a great job with us too. We just look forward to just keep rolling and get some projects.
Tom looks familiar. He also has a double role. He's quite an actor, so you might have seen him in some of the videos. So. He's balance it after and help work as well. So
Keep your day job.
just and just to mention, we did had that yard debris pickup.
Yeah, we just completed it, last week, so.
23 loads.
Yeah, 20 yards,
There's Todd.
Great job, guys. Is that it? Okay. All right, next up is the consideration of special use permit for 101 Bogue Sound Drive.
Planning board update.
I'm sorry, I did miss that. Planning board update. Forgive me, Susan.
Good evening. We had a busy meeting last week. First up, I want to talk a little bit about the land use plan. We received a schedule update on the land use plan from the contractor. We're still on schedule for a December 30th, 5/30 December delivery. Tomorrow, we're having a joint TV steering committee meeting tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And Darby will be there throughout the day if anybody wants to go in and discuss a little bit. The plan for tomorrow is that Ann is going to discuss some of the detail of the land use plans. We have not gotten any narrative yet, but the narrative will follow at tomorrow's meeting. We also had a request for a text amendment at the meeting. That was to rezone, that was to do a text amendment to add multifamily to the entire R135 Zone district, and that was withdrawn. I think the gentleman will probably come back at some point and ask for something else to accommodate he plans for that property, but he won't do it in that sweeping text change. One of the things that I brought up was doing some planning for a changing demographic. One of the things our land use plan did was provide us with some existing and emerging conditions. That was very enlightening. Our fastest growing population, the fastest growing demographic, is under 9 years old. The school age children in town is about 25% of the population. And our population will double by 2045. And that's a lot to consider in the next 20-something years. If our population continues to grow that way, then we've got considerations for school and that type of thing. So definitely worth doing some planning on that, and I'd love to see some recreation planning done, in the future for us to do on the board. The last thing was that special use permit for 101 Bogue Sound Drive for the storage facility. A lot of controversy on this at this point in my mind. We received a lot of information from people out there in town, some difficulties with it. But the PB was only asked to vote on a statement of consistency. In other words, that the special use permit was consistent with the 2007 land use plan. Now, we're in the middle of doing a new land use plan, but this was the existing land use plan from 2007. That vote was favorable. Either one, I will send a vote to send a favorable recommendation to the board of commissioners to approve that special use permit. Special use permits are permits that allow for land uses generally compatible with other land uses permitted by right in the zoning district, but require individual review of their location, design, configuration to minimize potential adverse impact. Now, storage units have never been, and still are not, permitted in Cape Carteret. On our existing table of permitted uses, storage or warehouses are permitted as ancillary to the B30 zoning district. Now, we have that category, but we don't have any property that's zoned B30. So I think there's the value in taking a good look at that table of permitted uses. Also, the B20 business district is that zoning is business, retail, and shopping. And it goes on to say, or the UDO goes on to say, only uses permitted shall be those uses denoted as permitted in section 11.5 of this chapter, which is the table of permitted uses. The property was, as I said, there's never been a permitted use for storage buildings or warehouses. So I think that building, that property was probably developed even before we had, maybe before we had ordinances. That would be considered a non-conforming use, which we had around town. However, that has been enlarged or extended. It was reestablished after discontinuation of use after 180 days. So I'm not sure that that insult to injury by the request to take those three buildings and this special use to add. Again, the planning board did not have anything to do with the initial site plan. We did not receive that site plan. So we didn't see any of the initial detail on that property. We just saw the detail the night for the first time. And there's quite a lot on there that does not conform, is not in compliance with our existing UDO or our last code of ordinance. And that's why I say we may be adding insult to injury with a fourth building. It appears that it does not meet the setbacks by even a half. It appears there's no easement, that they're building in a buffer along. There's no vegetation buffer along WB Drive. It doesn't appear that the parking lot is curved. And most importantly to me, is that the site triangle does not appear to be sufficient for safety. So I just wanted to brief that very clearly. What the PB has done is provided for favorable is only on that the statement of consistency, and not that we're necessarily supporting the project as a whole. Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And now, next up is the consideration for the special use permit for 101 Oak Sound Drive.
Town of Cape Carteret has received a special use permit application for 101 Oak Sound Drive from Benjamin Knight Wesley. 101 Oak Sound Drive is owned by Carteret Self Storage LLC. Benjamin Knight Wesley is the president of Carteret Self Storage LLC. 101 Oak Sound Drive is located in the B20 commercial zoning district of the town. Self storage is not listed as a permitted or special use in the town's table of permitted and special uses contained within the town's UDO. According to the UDO, special uses are land uses that are generally compatible with other land uses permitted by right in a zoning district, but which require individual review of their location, design, and configuration to evaluate and minimize the potential for adverse impacts on adjacent property and uses. According to the information from the Carteret County GIS website, the original 3 storage buildings were constructed in 1980. The 3 storage buildings on the site are considered a non-conforming use / situation and were demolished and reconstructed in the same footprint for section 4.5.5 non-conforming uses of the town's UDO. The special use permit application pertains to the addition of a 4th storage building on the site. And then just for this particular special use permit, I just want to reiterate, since this is the first one that this board will be doing, since we got the new UDO, just going to run through a little bit of background on review and approval procedures. Special use permits are handled through a quasi-judicial procedure and must be conducted in accordance with NCGS Chapter 160B-406. Quasi-judicial decisions shall be based upon competent, material, and substantial evidence in the record. Each quasi-judicial decision shall be reduced to writing, reflect the board's determination of contested facts and their application to the applicable standards. The applicant, the local government, and any person who would have standing to appeal the decision under GS 160B-1402C shall have the right to participate as a party at the evidentiary hearing. Other witnesses may present competent material and substantial evidence that is not repetitive as allowed by the board. As Susan mentioned, the planning board statement of consistency was that the Cape Carteret Planning Board voted 3-1 to adopt a statement of consistency stating that the proposed special use permit request is consistent with section 4.1 and 4.5B of the town's 2007 Campbell Land Use Plan. The UDO administrative recommendation, staff recommends the approval of the special use permit to add a 4-storage building at 101 Vogue Sound Drive. The recommendation is based on the fact that the property currently has 3 storage units on site, and the additional 4 storage unit does not represent a change in use of the property. The following specific provisions were examined in the special use permit and the site plan review process, which were the 12.9 required screening and buffer areas. The applicant has included a 10-foot wide vegetative screen along the rear property boundary, which is the southern property boundary per section 12.9. And then the other section of consideration was section 12.16, stormwater management. The proposed 4-storage building is 2,000 square feet. The area where the 4th building is currently previously used as a parking area / entrance area and might therefore be considered impervious due to the compaction and impermeability of the soil. Therefore, the 2,000 square feet of area appears to be located within the existing impervious area on the site. If it is determined that this area that is currently being looked at as impervious is considered to be pervious, then the stormwater runoff from the proposed 2,000 square feet of impervious area must be retained at the following rate, which is 16.67 cubic feet of storage capacity for every 100 square feet of new or replaced impervious surface. And the requested action is for the Board of Commissioners to consider whether to approve or deny the special use permit application for a 4-storage building at 101 Vogue Sound Drive, and the attachments that were included in the packet for the special use permit application and site plan for 101 Vogue Sound Drive. And then on the screen, I just have the zoning map. The black star there shows the location of 101 Vogue Sound Drive in the D20 commercial zoning district. It's bordered to the south by the R10 residential zoning district, and then to the east and west, it is bordered by D20. And show an aerial view there of the lot. So it's at the corner of Vogue Sound Drive and Highway 24. And you can see where there's vehicles parked there. So that would support the analysis that was previously used as parking and as an entrance. So it might be considered to be impervious. That's also in line with the definition that's in the UDO. And then there's another aerial view that shows the old storage buildings that were torn down and were constructed in the same footprint. The applicant's proposing to install that 4th building in the middle of those 3 buildings. So that's all that I have for the staff presentation. Be happy to answer any questions on the staff side if there are any.
Do I have any questions for staff?
Would the 4th building be placed in the middle, running perpendicular with those other 2 buildings, or would it be running parallel or perpendicular to those?
So it'd be parallel to Highway 24. So it'll be oriented at east to west.
Any more questions for staff? The representatives here, would y'all like to add anything before we go to a public comment?
They should, yeah. You can just affirm them, yeah, that's fine.
You swear affirm that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Do we have a microphone for them?
Great, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. I prepared some comments here. I'm Ben Westby. I'm an active duty Marine stationed at Camp Lejeune. Earlier this year, my wife and I purchased the old mini storage facility located on Highway 24 at the address 101 BOC Drive. We tore down the deteriorating cinder block buildings on the property and replaced them with new metal structures within 180 days of their destruction. We will reopen the facility early next year under the name Carteret Self-Storage. I'm here tonight requesting a special use permit to add a fourth building to the property. This building will not expand the current footprint of the facility. Rather, it will make better use of the area it already occupies. Previous facility had 66 units of various sizes. We elected to install larger units, which reduced the total number to 53. Adding 20 units in the fourth building will take our number to 73, an 11% increase in total unit count from the old facility. Along with this fourth building, we are planning additional improvements to the property to include adding a concrete apron to the driveway of the facility to mitigate erosion, replacing all of the fence with a mix of chain link along the north and east sides of the property, and wooden privacy fence along the west, which is BOC Drive, and the southern edge of the property, which borders that residential district, and planting a vegetative screen along the south side of the property. During the planning board meeting last week, there was some discussion, former Commissioner King, Mr. King brought it up about the tightness of that corner in the top, in the northwest side of the property. The current fence is not on the property line, so when we replace the fence, we would tend to pull it all the way out to the property line, which would add several feet to that corner and give more space for maneuverability. We are not asking the board to approve a new self-storage facility in the B20. We are asking the board to allow us to maximize the value of the existing space by adding 20 units in a fourth building within the footprint of that current facility. These additional units will have minimal impact on the local community, while planned improvements should increase the overall aesthetic and bring us into a closer conforming use. Thank you for your time and consideration.
My name is Jane Gordon from the Kirkland Whitford Law Firm. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I just want to make sure a couple of things here. The self-storage facility is already there as a non-conforming use. Obviously, it was constructed in 1980 originally. That was well before the current UDO was in existence. So the self-storage facility is going to be opened and operating. The only question before this board is whether to grant a special use permit to allow them to construct a fourth building. You can see the site plan on the screen there. That fourth building, the little cursor thing is moving over where that fourth building is planned to be. So you can see that the location of the fourth building is within the existing footprint of the building. It does not increase sort of the footprint of the facility. It wouldn't be viewed as an expansion of use in terms of broadening the facility in terms of the number of buildings that could be seen from the highway or something like that. And the use is already existing. The three existing buildings were reconstructed within the 180 days as required by the ordinance for reconstruction to be able to continue a non-conforming use. With respect to the screening, Mr. Steffi, can you put that one back up there? To make the facility look better and to comply with the ordinances, the applicant intends to put screening on the south side, also to replace the fencing as he's described. We would submit that adding this fourth building in this case does not adversely impact the community or any of the surrounding areas. Self-storage facilities are not the kinds of facilities that add a lot of traffic or noise. It's not going to be a 24-hour facility. What I want to do now is turn to the questions. This board will have to make findings of fact under the new UDO in terms of, whether the special use permit should be granted. So I'm just gonna, if it's all in the application, but I thought it might be helpful to have Mr. Westby or his contractor, Mr. Frost, address some of these questions. For starters, how the special use conforms to the character of the neighborhood, considering the location, type, and height of buildings or structures, and the type and extent of the landscaping on the site. You gentlemen want to address that?
It'll conform exactly with the, three other structures that are already there and part of the neighborhood. So they'll be exactly the same in look and style.
Mr. Frost, do you want to talk about landscaping?
Landscaping, we went above and beyond. We are on a 60-foot area that we have to put a screening on. We went beyond that, even though a commercial property is behind us. But we also took note that we had a residential bordering that commercial property. But we also put screening down that whole 160 feet instead of 60 feet. And we proposed to put a wood fence there, and then also a wood fence down both Sound Drive with a sliding gate, not a swinging gate, which would give enough room to make cars accessible to all three buildings.
The next question is, explain how the establishment of the proposed use will not cause undue traffic congestion or create a traffic hazard.
Yeah, I looked up some survey statistics of how often self-storage customers visit their self-storage unit. I listed all out in this application, but essentially, if we assume that the additional 20 units are rented to customers that are going to visit their unit once a month, we're looking at one additional vehicle driving that 100-foot section of Folk Sound Drive every 36 hours. So it should be a minimal impact to traffic currently on that road.
Please explain how the proposed use will have the ability to obtain adequate connections to water, sewer, wastewater, drainage, electric, and others as required.
We don't have any, building's not going to require water, sewage, or wastewater. Electric's already on the property. We're planning to put some lights up there. It's already there.
And as for drainage, there's some questions about the drainage. It's
Impervious surface.
Yeah.
Camera regulations, if you're even in the 75-foot AEC, is 35% of the property. We are well below even that. We're at 33% impervious surface. So we've got the drainage for the lot. We are not using a concrete crushing run. We're using a normal crushing run. It will not be compacted with a roller, but it will be dense enough that it will allow for water to soak through it.
Explain how the proposed use will not be noxious or offensive by reason of vibration, noise, odor, dust, smoke, or gas.
Self-storage facility, so there shouldn't be any emissions of vibrations, odor, dust, or gas.
Explain how the establishment of the proposed use will not impede the orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property.
It's one additional building to the facility that already exists. So if the properties in the local area are already impacted by the fact that there's a self-storage facility there, the addition of this new building won't raise or lower values based on the use is already it's already being used as a self-storage facility. That fourth building is not going to move the needle anyway.
In addition to that, the addition of the vegetative screening and the changing of the fence adds privacy and improves the aesthetics of the location. So it should not have an amber. And the addition of this fourth building plus the overall improvement of the property should have a positive, not a negative impact on the surrounding property. Explain how the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the proposed use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare.
Self-storage facility will not cause the release of any environmental hazards, or increase fire risk, create significant noise and traffic in the area, whatever the traffic statistics that we expect. Property stored in those individual units will be locked in those units by the persons who lease them, thus keeping the content safe.
It's also it's not planned to be a 24-hour facility, so there's not going to be people coming in and out of there 24 hours a day. It'll have limited hours, and there will be, keypad entry to get into the facility. So you're not going to be able to get in there unless you have a storage unit in there, and you go to your storage locker, you do what you need to do, get whatever you need to put in there or take out and then leave. So it's not going to have any kind of adverse impact on the security of the
I
community.
like that to the keypad system. The keypad system will come on the unit. The management company will allow each individual renter a specific number to enter that keypad. Once that is done, or they do not pay a bill, or once that is entered there, we know when people are coming in and going from that unit 24/7 a day. It will not be open 24/7, but whoever enters or tries to hit that keypad, we will know what time of day they hit that keypad.
The next question is how the proposed use will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property. I mean, it is the addition, if you look back at the site plan, it's the addition of one building within the footprint of the existing 3 buildings that are there already and are going to be it's going to be opened as a self-storage facility in the existing footprint. The addition of a 4th building in there is not going to have any kind of an adverse impact on the value of adjoining property. In fact, given the additions that they're making with the screening and the privacy fence, it should, as I said, enhance the value of the adjoining property compared to the way that it's been with the dilapidated cinder block buildings up to this point. Last question is how the proposed use is consistent with the officially adopted plans and policies of the town.
It's a business going into a business district, not different than offices or schools or services, retail sales and whatnot. That is already in there.
It is in a business district. It's already an existing use. It's going to create less traffic than a lot of other business uses that are permitted uses like veterinary places, retail, schools, services, utility lots, those kinds of things. And as the planning board has recommended, it is consistent with the existing CAMA use plan. I just wanted to sort of reiterate again that the question isn't whether this board approves this self-storage facility. The self-storage facility is already there. He already owns the property, has the right as a non-conforming use to operate it as a self-storage facility. So denying the special use permit won't mean that the facility won't be there. It only would mean that the 4th building won't be there. And the 4th building, since the evidence that we provided is consistent with the town and doesn't have any adverse impact on the town, yet allows this property owner to make a more efficient, better, and profitable use of his property, only enhancing the value of the property to the town and its appearance. We would submit that it should be granted. We'd be happy to answer any questions, or do you gentlemen have anything else you want to add?
Happy to answer your questions or concerns.
Any questions, gentlemen? Not yet. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into a public hearing for this matter.
I move to go into public hearing.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All right, we are now out of regular meeting and into a public meeting. We had one person sign up for a comment, and that was Mike King. He has already spoken. Is there anyone else that would like to address this issue that is here?
May I?
Yes, Susan. Please stand up to the podium. So you got to be sworn in, yes. A little bit different procedure for this.
I do. So I just want to be clear about the non-conforming use. In the UDO in section 4-5-5 under B2, is that the uses shall not be enlarged or extended except in conformity with this UDO. it will not be reestablished after the discontinuance of a use for a period of 180 days or more. I've lived in town for over 5 years, and I've never seen that property used. So I don't, but the biggest issue is the enlargement or extended except in conformity with the UDO. And the current plan does not conform with the UDO.
Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, if you'd like.
Just for clarification, simply because the facility was closed and wasn't an operating business doesn't mean that that wasn't the use that was there. The issue with, so it isn't that it was closed and wasn't an open business for 180 days. The buildings were still there. What Mr. Westby's company did was tear down the dilapidated cinder block buildings and reconstruct new buildings within the 180 days as required by the UDO. The reason we're here to ask for a special use permit to add the fourth building is because that is what would be required to allow this property owner to expand, to add that building, to add a few more units to the facility. So we're working within this applicant and property owner has been working within the UDO in all sort of stages of this project. Thanks.
Yes.
I'll just add that when we purchased the facility, previous owner was clearing old items out of those storage facilities and trying to contact previous owners of items that were left there. He may not have been collecting payment on them and running a bad business, but it was still a business there. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir. I worked with the former owners when they took the buildings, when we were getting ready to take the buildings down, and Ben Westby took the buildings over. There were still people still storing belongings in there from all the units. He had to actually send out letters to them to get them and get their belongings out of there after Westby bought it. The cars that you saw on there, they were abandoned vehicles. There was also 2 abandoned jet skis on there at the same time. I know that because one of my guys asked for jet skis.
Anyone else would like to offer a comment? If not, then I would entertain a motion to come out of the public comment and go back to our regular meeting. Second? Second. All in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. Just anybody have any questions for the applicant from the board? All right, well, if there's no comment, then I guess I'll entertain a motion.
I just had some discussion topics I wanted to bring up. They're not necessarily questions for the applicant. I was at the planning board meeting last week, and having come directly from there to here, that was the first time that we'd had that type of application at the planning board. And there was a lot of confusion as to what the scope of the planning board actually was. And I just bring that up to say that I think this board is going to need to probably clarify a lot of that. But one thing that was not allowed was, or I think is slightly misleading, is the vote, because I'm not sure everyone knew what they were voting for. They were limited in scope to just the statement of consistency. Was it consistent or was it not consistent? And I don't really know that they had been given the opportunity to review that section 4.1 or 4.5 in the land use plan. It seemed sort of sprung. But with regard to 4.5, which is the non-conforming use, it states that any building, structure, or use of land legally existing. So to me, that's the image that we had up on the screen here. The non-conforming use is that snapshot in time. It seems as if when we go to a special use permit, well, even so, 4.5.5 says, like I said, any building, structure, use of land legally existing. The uses shall not be enlarged or extended except in conformity with this UDO. So if you change that snapshot, you then need to follow the UDO. And what the planning board was stopped short of was, and Susan, I think, has done that now, is listing and advising this board of all of the non-conforming items. And so because this was the first one, I think there was a lot of confusion, and I think there's a little bit of confusion in how this is supposed to be handled. For example, 4.1.5 or 4.1 says that land use, table 33, land use compatibility, that promote land use and public infrastructure development that is compatible with land suitability. This is the infrastructure carrying capacity. It seems like in this, we don't know if it's pervious or impervious. And I think we need to know this answer, and it should be evidence in this hearing, quasi-judicial hearing, to say whether it is or it isn't. I think we need to be careful of causing too much stormwater runoff. I think we need to know that answer now at this point in time. So based off everything that I just said, as well as this, I almost think that we should table this because there's not enough, to me, enough evidence to make a decision. So I know this is my first rodeo, so that's just my take on this.
Any other comments, questions?
I'll wait until there's a motion then.
Okay.
Can I make my motion right now?
Yes, sir, you can.
So I make a motion to table this for discussion later. I have to say when, or can I just make a table to vote?
Yes. Yeah, we'll need a date.
I would say the next meeting a month from today would
The
be fine.
January meeting?
A January meeting would be sufficient.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have first and a second. Comments? All right.
Yeah, Mr. Westby, first of all, thank you for your service. Like a lot of people, I'm not a big fan of storage facilities, but I'd like to commend you for turning an eyesore that I've been looking at for 10 years into something tolerable to look at. I live in Baysdore, and I've looked at that facility for 10 years. I've received 0 complaints from the neighbors and about your facility, and as a matter of fact, I've heard several compliments. I also watched the planning board meeting and want to thank you and your attorney for the patience you exhibited with our planning board. Wish you good luck with your business.
Any more comments? All right, we had the motion and the second to table till January, until the next board meeting for more information. So all in favor? 3. All opposed? Motion carries 3-2 to table to January. More information. Let's see, item 14 was withdrawn by the applicant. And thank you for your time. I do appreciate that, and hopefully we can get some more information and resolve it in January. I know how difficult it is going through the process, so I apologize for that. So next on the agenda is consideration of the budget amendment. And this is in regard to funds we just received from the rescue plan. And our neighboring towns, and a lot of towns are doing this with the funds, and part of the use of that fund is to compensate people who have worked during the pandemic. And I thought that we should be able to match what our fellow towns are doing for their employees. And Zach was gracious enough to come up with this amendment for me. If you pull it up for us to consider. It's in the page number. Right after your statement of consistency presentation. Yeah, don't mind. I was just gonna see if you could pull that up so they can take a look at it. No, they got it. So people in the audience can see as well what we're talking about. If you'd explain it,
Yeah, I was gonna pull that out.
Okay. Okay, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Screen now. You want to read off this?
If I can see it. Yeah, let me see it. Let me borrow yours. So the COVID-19 pandemic posed a substantial challenge to our community's altered our way of life naturally. It was a town staff that just done an outstanding job responding to those challenges and continuing to keep our local government running smoothly throughout the pandemic. Throughout the course of the pandemic, town staff continued in-person interactions among staff members and with the public, which assured the continuity of town government operations. And further, staff conducted numerous hybrid public meetings and events that were open to in-person public participation attendance throughout the pandemic. On March 11th, the American Rescue Act was signed into law, and this provided $350 billion in additional funding. We were awarded a total of $656,835 in this grant funding. We just received our first payment, which was $328,417, and the second payment is anticipated in 2022. Per these guidelines established by the American Rescue Act, 2021, frontline employees are eligible to receive bonus and/or associated premium pay for work completed during the global pandemic between January 2020 and December of 2021. The town Cape Carteret has 14 full-time employees that are eligible to receive an ARPA bonus premium pay based on the guidance contained within the interim final rule for coronavirus state local fiscal recovery funds provided by the United States Department of Treasury. So what I'd like you gentlemen to consider is approving a one-time payment of $100 a month per each month worked during the 24-hour period between January 20th and December 21st, up to $2,400 per employee. The bonus pay will apply to each full-time employee who is currently employed by the town, who are in good standing with the town and have not given notice of resignation or received notice of termination. Bonus pay can be included in paychecks issued on December 20th if we approve this tonight. And as you all know, as we went through this pandemic, especially the first few months, and just how we had to change our way of doing business, it was frustrating. And it seemed at a time when the government was paying people not to come to work, our staff was here, and our staff was working diligently and trying to roll with all the changes that were being brought forward. So that's why I thought I would bring this up. The town of Cedar Point has done a very similar thing, and I think Emerald Isle just passed one for theirs when they got their money. So I'm asking you gentlemen to consider this as well.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward this $2,400 per employee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Is that your opposed?
I didn't ever get a copy of this memo, so I wasn't really briefed on what's that.
Okay.
But no.
Well, I apologize. It should have been in the packet. So let me just confirm your vote. You're voting no?
I don't mean to.
No, that's fine.
Town employees or anything, but if I don't have the information on hand, I'm not gonna make a rush vote. All right.
Okay, that's fine. Motion carries 4-1. And I apologize, you did not get that information. I should have known that when I was going through the packet, so I'll take responsibility.
I think the memo was dated the 13th.
Okay. Okay. Well, you should have had it though. And there again, I apologize to you personally for that, sir. All right, next up on the agenda is the approval of holiday schedules for the next year, 2022. This is our Board of Commissioner meeting dates as well as the holidays. Everybody have a chance to look at those.
Need a motion?
Yes, that'd be awesome. Everybody had a chance to review it.
I'll make a motion to approve both.
Second.
Okay, second. All in favor? All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, next up is commissioner reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Martin.
Yeah, I want to thank all the people that voted for me, and I was honored and humbled. Also want to thank all the people that took the time to share their concern for me during the over 140 hours that I sat at the polls. For those of you in the town that shared your concerns for the flooding, I will assure you that I will do everything I can to find a solution, as I have stated before. We need to first identify the flooding hotspots. Secondly, if it is a town issue, we need to engineer the solution, take ownership of the problem. Thirdly, we need to find funding for the project. Fourth, we need to hire a company to do the work. In the interim, I feel like our public works department should continue to do all they can in-house to address the flooding. And I also feel the town should acquire easements through major ditches. And I know Zach has, we talked about that, so they can be maintained. A lot of these ditches that run through neighborhoods such as Bayshore, Maine,
creeks, if you will, that the drains, the water drains off of. It's very important to be maintained. I think the only way they're going to be is if we can get these to do that. Finally, Ryan, or Zach brought to my attention, there's a piece of equipment that can be used to clean out driveway culverts. And I'm very interested in that. Zach, I would like for you to research that, and Ryan, and bring it forward board consideration. I think that's huge. We can clean out the driveway culverts. A lot of our flooding issues come from those ongoing culverts. Lastly, I reached out to Paxton Holes yesterday for an update on the flooding issue on site, Star Hill. She told me that the engineer had not finished shooting the elevations in the area, and that she would call me once the engineering firm had finished that. So hopefully the town and the golf course could get together and put that thing to bed once and for all. That's so.
All right, Commissioner Morgan.
I'd like to also thank everybody that voted for me. I look forward to working with everybody else, commissioners sitting up here doing some good for the town.
Commissioner Waters.
Yeah, I'd just like to give kudos to the town staff, especially during the Christmas in the Cape. They did a lot of hard work during hours and after hours. I think we work on that. A lot of good comments pertaining to that. And, keep up the good work. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Miller.
I'd like to thank our two outgoing commissioners, Mike King and Jim Naylor. Appreciate everything you did for the town. And we didn't always agree on everything, but none of us do. But we always did what we thought was best for the town. And I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Martin on his reelection and the two newly elected commissioners. Look forward to working with all of you. And as I said before, we're not all going to agree on everything every time, but as long as we can work together and do what we feel is best for the town, and that's what we're here to do. And like the town staff, for all that you continue to do, not only for these past 2 years in this pandemic, today, all of the everything you've been doing, Zach, with these festivals and all, that's what brings the town together. And police department, public works, see you out there every day. Appreciate everything you do with all the town staff.
Thank you, Don. Mr. Watts.
So I too want to thank everyone that supported me and put me here. And, I want to hear from you. I don't want to just stop hearing from people when I stop going door to door. So I want to hear from people. I want to make sure that I'm up here for you. And so I want to continue to hear from you. So thank you again. Thank you to town staff. I went to each department and sort of got the lay of the land and got to hear what your thoughts and concerns were for your department. So I really appreciate that time that you took to kind of educate me on a lot of what you do. So thanks to Zach, you've really helped me and kind of come up to speed in a lot of things. And yeah, thank you. That's it.
All right. Well, I'll echo congratulations, Steve, Charlie, Cameron. Look forward to working with you guys because, like I said, it's all about the town, and we're all here to do what's right for the town. And thanks again to Mike still here. Okay. Plants in the way. Can't see everybody. Anyway, and Jim Naylor for serving for the past couple of years while I've been here. And like Don says, sometimes you may not agree, but it's all in the gist of trying to do what you think is right for the town. That's what we're put here to do. And we're very blessed to be in our town and just to have the few problems we do. And as we mentioned earlier, a lot of the biggest problems we have is the drainage. We're at sea level. Sort of to be expected, but it's how we handle these problems. Luckily, we've got some money now that we can use, and we want to use that money right, and get the engineering done, and get the plans done, get the contractors in here, and like I said, do what we can do. Can't say enough about the public works staff. You guys are doing an awesome job trying to attack these issues as much as you can. Also with our roads, trying to keep them repaired. If you've been to any of the neighboring towns, especially if you've been to Beaufort recently, and good jar your teeth going down some of those streets. So we're in very good shape right now. Very, very blessed to be here. And I just can't say enough about this awesome town that we live in, and we may not agree on things, but man, I'm so glad to be here. Just can't say enough about that. And Zach, you've done such an awesome, wonderful job, you and the rest of the staff here for the town. Just cannot say enough about that professionalism that you brought to the town. And we all make mistakes, but when you're doing it and you're doing things for the right reason, I just applaud you, sir. And everybody, the administration staff as well. You guys do an amazing job in helping him, because without you guys, he can't do it. And that's what it's all about, is letting people do their job and do what they do best. And then you can get back and take all the credit for it, which is what we're doing as a board. We take credit for all the great job you guys do. And Chief, same for you and your guys. I hear nothing but compliments now, and that's awesome, as far as all the things that you guys have done and all the things that are being done. And I just want to see this moving forward. And I see that happening. So with that, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. And I'd love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second. All in favor? We agreed on that. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.